Shalom. Let's start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone who rule well. And shalom to you sincere, hopeful, elect brothers and sisters who are listening and learning, to your brothers preaching and teaching this truth through four corners of earth. There's a brother Nathan and the brother Urania, man, here, as part of the GMS Indianapolis camp. Let's come back with a quick one through the Spirit, and we're just going to go through Psalms, the 12th chapter, just flow through the Spirit and get right into it. This is Psalms chapter 12, verse 1. It says, to the chief musician upon Sheminith, a psalm of David. It says, help, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. Right, because here it is, in this evil, wicked world ran by Esau, even the so-called white man. All right, this place is made with straight confusion, death, and destruction because it's ran by wicked rulership. That's why it says Job 9:24. It says, what the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And we know that wicked is Malachi 1:4, where it talks about Esau, being the border of wickedness, man. So all wickedness starts with him. And he's in the power seat right now because the Lord put him there. All right, and so that's why you see wickedness running rampant around the earth, man. So you don't see. That's why the Lord left a remnant, an elect. All right, but you don't see godly men, amongst the earth, man. All right, because what? One, they make what? Can you get the offender of a word?
Okay.
Because here it is, you're trying to uphold righteousness in a wicked society, man, and we're made enemies because what? We're telling people the truth. That's like I said with Galatians, I believe 6:3 says, for I have come your enemy because I'll tell you the truth. Let me make sure that's the right one. Let me go to that real quick. Let's go to that real quick. Galatians 6:3, I want to say it's right. Nope, that's Galatians 4:16, I believe. Yeah, this Galatians 4:16 says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" Right, and we're the world's enemies because we're out here preaching and teaching the truth of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai contained in the scriptures, man. And people hate us because we're trying to spread righteousness, man. We're changing the whole vibration of the earth through the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, man. Us being the ambassadors. We're just representing Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, so they're mad at us for preaching the message. But in the world, they say, don't shoot the messenger, right? But here we're preaching the message, and then people want to kill the prophets, man, like they have of old, right? Go ahead.
I got what you call, and then I got a precept after.
God.
This is Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
It says, that make a man an offender for a word. It says, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate.
Right, that's like in the Amos, it says what? They hate him that rebuketh in the gate.
Yeah.
All right, why? Because we're in the chief cities, bringing out this truth, man, telling all the wickedness, telling about, our people,
calling Jake out for their wickedness.
Yeah, the wickedness.
Calling Jake out, because that's commanded in the scriptures. We're supposed to call Jake out of the wickedness and, prophesy, what's going to happen to Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. All right.
Yep.
Letting these heathen know that, their judgment.
Yep.
While cussing out, the degenerates of the nation of Israel, man. All right, which are the 2/3, man.
Yep.
All right.
That's why this is what Isaiah 51 says, cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people the transgression, the house of Jacob their sins. All right, that's what we're doing. So now we're calling out these other nations on their madness, man. Because ultimately, the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai reign supreme over all the laws of the land. You know what I'm saying? So, and then here it is. We're calling all the wickedness out, and try to call our people back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Right? Obviously, we're fishing for the elect. All right, to call them back, and so in the process of that, they're offended, and then they want us to die, man. They literally want us to be taken out. Because we're bringing out the words. Well, here it is. We're not doing anything physical to these people. But what? Hebrews 4:12 says what? For the words I'm going to get that real quick. Then get your precept. This is the reason why we're hurting these people's feelings, man. This is Hebrews 4:12. It says, For the word of Yahweh Bashem Shai is quick. And quick means what? To make alive. All right. It makes you alive, you know. It's because the word of the Most High is alive. It says, and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints of the marrow. Slack it. And is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Right. So these words actually hurt. There's actually, you feel them.
It cuts to the soul.
Yeah, it cuts all the way to the soul.
Yeah.
And that's what it's made for, because this word is made to reprove. It's made to correct.
That's why when these Edomites hear this word, these Edomites, it don't matter how proud look Edomite can have. Once they hear the words of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, that's gonna cut to their soul, man. And they know they're gonna get and they know they condemn. Esau know they condemn when they hear this word, man. Yep,
just like the wicked of our people.
Mm-hmm.
The 2/3. Yep, they really get condemned because the word was made for us. He said Psalms 147 talks about he showed his word unto Jacob.
Yep, his statutes.
This is in his judgments unto Israel. He had not done so in any nation.
Yeah.
And so it hurts 10 times worse. You know what I mean? To you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. But then what? It's one or two things with Jake. They either going to repent and come back to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, or what? They wax worse.
Yeah.
They double down, triple down on the wickedness after they get the reproof.
Yeah.
And then, the scriptures say, Hebrews 10 and 26. Let me get that before you get your precept. Hebrews 10 and 26 says this. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. Right, because you're an enemy unto Yahweh Bashem El Shai. Remember that at one point he winked at our ignorance because we just didn't know better. All right, we're just here living in the world, not knowing the truth, going to the Christian church or whatever other philosophy you're following, and then now that you're being reproved by the men of the Lord, starting with our apostles and others, a great millstone on down. Now there's no cloak for your sins. Just like when Yahweh Shai came on the scene, there's no cloak for your sins. All right, now you're gonna be held accountable. So if you don't want to make the changes after receiving the correction, well, guess what? You're gonna get caught up in the thermonuclear destruction, concentrated illusion from the chariots. You're gonna get caught in the pestilences, the teeth of wild beasts, all the spirits of vengeance, man. You're not gonna have that thawah, that mark of exemption on you, man, because you were rebellious to the words of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. And this is what? Rebellion is what? The sin of witchcraft. And what does it say about a witch? Suffer not a witch to live. So guess what? Hey, you fall in the category of just being fucking destroyed, man, for rebelliousness, man.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. This is back in Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
It says that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just. It says, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught.
Right, because they put us down like we're not doing anything, like we're not productive, like, what you guys doing is a waste of time. Go get a job. You guys ain't shit. See, they talk down on the men of the Lord, but what does Luke 10 and 16 talk about? Let's get that real quick. You got your precept on deck?
Yeah.
As Luke 10 and 16 says, and this is Yahweh Shai, red letter, it says, he that heareth you heareth me, and he that despiseth you despiseth me, and he that despises me despises him that sent me. See? So at the end of the day, you're just despising Yahweh Bashem El Shai, the Heavenly Father and the Son. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing at the end of the day. You're not really attacking us. You're attacking the Lord Himself, man. And you're gonna have to pay dearly for that. To act like what we're doing to want to destroy us, No, that's like trying to kill the Lord, man. Go ahead.
Yep. This is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 15. It says, yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai saw it.
Right, because we make ourselves a prey for what? Bringing out this truth, man. Condemning this world. All right, these people are all into this world, man. All right, they love everything about it, man. All the wickedness that comes with it. They love their jobs. They love, I went to school for 8 years, just to make $20
All
an
that
hour.
hard work.
Yeah.
And dedication.
Mm-hmm. Slaves to the system, man. All right, and then you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, 2/3 of y'all have fought for it, hook, line, and sinker, man. You're still following the American dream, but us that are unplugged from this fucking matrix, man, are us of the hopeful elect, man. We see that it's a nightmare, and then ultimately what? It's called the American dream because you got to be asleep to believe it. That like that one comedian said, whatever his name was. It don't matter. He was a fucking demon anyway. He always talked against the Most High too. But fuck him. But there still was truth in that, It's an American nightmare for the ones that have been unplugged, man. We see for what it really is, man. All right, all the glitz and glamour is really bullshit. When you pull back the curtain, you see all the wickedness and what comes with it, and the oppression, and and ultimately what you got to sell out. Yeah,
wickedness produces
the
amount of
well, why does it produce death?
Causes in the world.
Yeah, why does this world produce death? Because what? It says the wages of sin is what? Death. Romans 6:23. All right, so that's why you see so much killings and obstruction, because what? The wicked's in rulership, and they're what? The man of sin is here. You know what I'm saying? Esau, even the so-called white man, the son of perdition, man. He's in the power seat, so that's why death is reigning supreme on the earth, man.
The scriptures calls this what the valley of the
shadow of death, man. Yeah, and like a valley. Valleys, steep on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to climb out that shit. So here it is. You're basically trapped. You're surrounded, on all sides, and you're following this valley, man. That's why we need the protection. Yahweh Shem Hashem's protection.
It's all witchcraft.
Yeah.
Esau is Esau had, established this place, through his witchcraft, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just avenues
rape,
for
rob,
Jake to sin and Jake to go off, man.
Through what? Rape, rob, and murder, man. Yeah, he's the fowler, right? Which is a bird trapper. All right, Esau says all these snares for our people, man. Liquor stores on 1,000 corners, the Christian church, fucking 7 Christian churches on one block. All fucking madness, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with drinking, but they know Jake is, they know they study Jake. They know Jake needs a way out.
Yeah.
And if Jake is better off, he'll be happier just being a fucking drunk and a menace to society, man.
Yep.
Vape shops all over the fucking place, man.
Man.
Because that's, they know. Go ahead.
This is, back in Isaiah chapter 59, verse 15, it says, "Yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment."
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing true judgment because the wicked are in the rulership. All right? We're supposed to have righteous judgment, man. Mm-hmm. But here it is. Esau's system is based on class systems. Like if you're rich, you can get away with anything. But if you're at the bottom like we are, any little crime, they throw the fucking book at us, man. But here it is. If we're rich and have money,
you'll be able to afford lawyers and all this. You know what I'm saying? They know Jake can't afford none of that.
Yep.
That's why Jake is the most,
incarcerated.
Yeah, incarcerated, all up in the prison houses.
Yep.
Because Esau has created a system to pretty much, reincarcerate Jake.
Yep.
So that the governments can make money.
Yep. Exactly.
So it's like,
so you get petty crimes and shit. Now you getting 5 years. Like that's 5 years of free labor, man. Or next to nothing. They could pay them a couple pennies or whatever.
It's all corrupt, man. They don't pass righteous judgment, man.
Mm-hmm.
They'll let it's all designed to what, man? Destroy so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man.
Yep.
All right, it's all designed, man. This was all made by design, man. That why do you think modern day Israelite families are all broken up and messed up, man?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Because this wicked ass system Esau Edom has set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And righteous judgment isn't practiced here in this land.
Yep.
This place embraces what? Pride Month, man.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures tells you what you need to do with a person like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
But Esau, he doesn't follow after the scriptures. He creates his own law, his own wicked, laws, just off of his own mind, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they don't line up with the scriptures, man.
Yep.
That's why this place is all messed up, man. Giving women the liberty to gather abroad, man. That creates confusion.
Yep.
Esau has searched out every avenue to create chaos, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yep. It's back to Psalms chapter 12, verse 2. It says, "They speak vanity, everyone with his neighbor, with flattering lips, and with a double heart do they speak." And that's the wicked. Esau, even the so-called white man. All right, and then 2/3 that join onto them. Hand joining hand. This is what the wicked shall not go unpunished, man. Because Jake be upholding this wickedness too, man. This is what they have outdone the deeds of the wicked, man. All right, because Jake is the best at everything, including wickedness, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, matter of fact, I'm going to keep reading this. Verse 3 says, "Yahweh Shemashah shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things." All right, and that's what's about to happen to Esau, even the so-called white man, Because here it is. He's thinking he's getting away with his wicked-ass system that he's created. All right, with all the oppression that he's done to Jake, all the rape, rob, and murder of the children of Israel, all right, the apple of the Lord's eye. And just because judgment hasn't rained down just exactly yet, they think the Lord has forgotten. They think that the Lord won't require it. But Yahweh Shemashah is going to get it back in blood, man. Can you get Numbers 35 and 33?
God.
All right. And then, like I said, and they speak of proud things. Like I said, Esau will speak as he's the Most High. He'll speak as nothing's going to happen to me. And then Jake be coming in that proud stance too. They be in that stance that their oppressor is, because Jake got what's the Stockholm syndrome, to the point he loves Esau, the so-called white man. Anytime you talk to Jake about these nations being destroyed and whatever, what are the first thing they say? Well, what about the white man? Why the fuck do you care? Man. You should be. They never ask about the Chinese man, right? Japanese man, yeah.
They trust in Esau Edom.
We say the white man, he lets us go to college now.
Yeah.
We go to the same schools.
Man, we can walk up and down the street.
Yeah.
We can go to the bar. We can get ice cream with Coke.
Yeah.
And we can go on our social media and post about our life.
Yep.
Esau's not killing us anymore. He's not calling us nigger. Look, we can go to the flea market and then we can buy what we want. We can go back home because I have a job and I get paid every 2 weeks. Like Jake is just completely given over to just how it says in Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man, but a gift destroyeth the heart.
Yep.
Esau pretty much, through these so-called amenities in the society, has, got the minds of our people. The minds of our people are pretty much given over unto folly ass shit, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what folly is set in great dignity.
Man.
Motherfuckers worry about all the wrong things but salvation. Worrying about getting right with Yahweh Shemashah. Well, guess what? That's why 2/3 is going to be destroyed.
Jake don't think critically, man.
Nope.
Man.
Nope. They think critically when it comes to wickedness.
Yeah, when it comes to wickedness.
Wise to do evil, right? But when it's do good, they don't know what to do. Yeah, look at that real quick. Yep, right.
This is Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33. It says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it."
Yep, see? but by the blood of him that sheddeth it. All right. And that's what Esau, the so-called white man, has a lot of blood on his hands, and he hasn't been judged for it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord is saving the best for last. He, like I said, he thinks he's gotten away with it. That's why they speak with pride, because they think, oh, look at our great empire. Look at all the wickedness we're doing, and the Lord isn't coming back to do anything. See, the Lord's got the Esau, even the so-called white man, in the trick bag. Because he don't realize you're just a tool. You're Esau, the so-called white man, you're just a tool to the Lord. You're the Lord's sword. And this sword is starting to get dull. The Lord is getting ready to place you with the battle axes of Yahweh Shemel Shai, his men, the Israelites, man. All right, that are going to take it back over eventually. All right, sooner than later. And I'm going to go back to Psalms 12, verse 4. It says, I'll read 3 again. It says, Yahweh Shemel Shai shall cut off all flattering lips in the tongue. Hey, look up the word flattering for me real quick. Probably Edom or whatever, whatever first. I'll get that definition real quick.
Flattering, F-L-A.
Yep, T-T-E-R-I-N-G.
So the word flattering from the Etymon Online, it says late 14th century. It says pleasing to the imagination, dishonestly pleasing, having a false appearance, favorable. It's like it says.
Right, because they speak falsely. All right, they speak falsely. What, against you so-called niggas, Latinos, and Native Americans? Ultimately, they make us out to be the wicked, all right, the criminals of the earth, when really they are. All right, because they use it through their witchcraft. All right, like through their media, they paint the picture of you so-called niggas, Latinos, Native Americans in a negative light.
Yeah.
All right, they call us black.
Yeah.
The black Hebrew Israelites. The other buzzwords, man.
Yep.
That has a negative connotation against us, man. But like I said, really it's wrapped up in lies, man. And they're gonna get paid for that, because it says what? So it says, Yahweh Shema shall cut off flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things, who have said, with our tongue will we prevail. See, because they're lies. They think through their lies they're going to prevail, right? Our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us? See, that's what they don't understand. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Matter of fact, can you get Daniel 4:17 real quick? They really think they're in control. They really think they got this empire by themselves. No. That's wrong.
I got it.
Go ahead.
This is Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers.
Mm-hmm. Who's the watchers? The prophets. Go ahead.
It says, and the demand by the word of the holy ones. It says, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
See, Yahweh Shemel Shai ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right, he's in control of the whole movie, man. He's the author, the director. All right, he writes the scripts, everything. Go ahead.
Okay. It says that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will,
mm-hmm.
and setteth up over it the basis of men.
Right, and the basis of men is Esau, Edom, so-called white man. All right, the caveman. That's their history, not us.
Eating bugs off each other's backs.
Right, eating bugs off each other's
Grunting.
backs, grunting, not being able to speak, not bathing, not showering, caked up, ugly motherfuckers, man. But the Lord gave them, put them in the power seat, man.
Talk about some, hey bud.
Yeah,
with
right.
the suit and tie.
Yeah, with the suit and tie, and they act so sophisticated, but they're really through.
Man.
Got that nigga with the orange shirt right while walking by. Yep. So, it's at the end of the day, see, they think that, see, they're saying, who is Lord over us? Right. No, I mean, Yahweh Shemel Shai is. But they, like I said, they speak proudly. That's why they're going to be destroyed. It says, verse 5, it says, for the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith Yahweh Shem El Shai. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. See? And who's puffing at us? It's Esau and the so-called white man. And then these nations have joined along to puff at us, to think we're not shit. They take advantage of us in our own neighborhoods, man. All these nations, man, from the food to the gas stations, you know, these nations are making bank off of the blood, sweat, and tears of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. But Yahweh Shem El Shai here is the elected sign and cried in, right? We're the poor and needy, all right? We're the ones that are oppressed. So now the Lord is going to stand up on our behalf and destroy these people that are puffing at him, because he's the one that put him in position. So how dare them be proud against Yahweh Shem El Shai's, ultimately starting with his elect, but his nation, which is the Israelites. Verse 6, it says, Psalms 12:6, it says, the words of Yahweh Shem El Shai are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. So the words of Yahweh Shem El Shai, they're true. Isaiah 55:11.
This is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
See, and we're going to prosper. I mean, the words of Yahweh Shem El Shai are prospering. They're going to happen. All right? They don't return void. So whatever things are written in these scriptures, and they're for an appointed time, and it's going to happen. All right? The Lord is not a man he should lie. All right? So that's why I said the words of Yahweh Shem El Shai are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Verse 7, it says, Psalms 12:7, it says, thou shalt keep them, O Yahweh Shem El Shai, thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. It says, the wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. And right now the vilest men, Esau, even so-called white man, all right, he's been exalted at this point. The Lord has lifted him up to reign and to build up this tab of wickedness that the Lord's getting ready to cash out on their ass, man, and destroy them from the face of the earth after 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, man. All right, so the book of Obadiah is about Esau's destruction, man. You know? Matter of fact, can you get Obadiah 1:18? Straight to the point.
Got this book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, in the house of Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, in the house of Esau for stubble,
Mm-hmm.
and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh Shem El Shai hath spoken it.
See? And that's going to happen. All right, northern and southern kingdom together as one, and they're going to destroy fucking Esau, even so-called white man, after he serves his punishment. They're going to wipe that nation off the face of the earth. But back to Psalms 12:8, it says, the wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted, man. That's why the Sirach, the 10th chapter, talks about as the judges so are the people, rulers so is the people. Matter of fact, you can get that real quick, Sirach 10.
Sirach chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
Right. See, if there was a wise, if Esau, even the so-called white man, was wise, which ultimately to be wise is going to be following the righteousness of Yahweh Shem El Shai. That's true wisdom. All right, because that's prosperous. The ways of Esau Edom is destructive. All right, in every way, all his ways are wicked. All right, go ahead.
It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man...
See, as the judge of the people, so is the officers, right? So everybody up under you, under this wicked rulership, led by these elite banking families, that these Edomites, on down to your presidents, governors, mayors, senators, and congressmen, and the list goes on. So if you got wicked rulership at the top, and it all trickles down to the rest, all the way down to your everyday citizens, Go ahead. That's why it says what? Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. That's why you see Yahweh Bashim El-Shai speeding this thing up even further. All right, and judgment is going out at a high demand because what? Wickedness.
It's a completely satanic world.
Exactly. It's been overran with wickedness. Go ahead.
It says, and what manner of man? It says, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
See, such are all they that dwell therein. So everybody, from the very top all the way to the bottom, six-pack Joe, just blue collar, 40 to 70-hour week worker is wicked as hell. All right, because you listen to these conversations, man, of these people, man, you're like, golly, man, the Lord has to get rid of these people, man. From the lowest to the highest, man. All right. Like us, we're in that stance of Job, man. We vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, man. How these people are conducting themselves out here, man. What they're into, what they talk about. We're ready for this shit to be over with, and it's happening. Prophecy's rolling, man. We're moments away from the MOTB being made mandatory. World War III on the brink. Things are moving, man. So it is an exciting time to be alive. We just got to hang on and endure, man, and trust in Yahweh Bashim El-Shai, because I want to jump up back to verse 5 again. It says, Psalms 12 and 5 says, for the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith Yahweh Bashim El-Shai. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. See, we're going to be safe. The elect is going to be safe, because they're going to actually call on Yahweh Bashim El-Shai. They're going to rehearse the righteous acts. They're going to give that effort for the Lord. All right, they're going to be hastening his coming back. They're going to be sighing and crying and wanting him to come back. All right, while 2/3, they don't want the Lord to come back. They love their lives. And that's what said, he that loves his life shall lose it. All right, we hate our lives because we know this isn't it. This is not living. Mm-mm. Every day is oppression. We get pockets of happiness, and that's ultimately
from people that do evil.
Yeah,
from evildoers.
Yeah, and the happiness we get. People. Yeah, and the happiness we do get is mostly what? When we're around the brothers, man. Yeah. Around godly men. And
man.
Mm-hmm. So hey, man. So I think we hit the point. So with that, I pray that's edifying to the elect. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.